People involved in presenting the case to the Supreme Court were L.B. Sullivan, who was the one to press charges on the New York Times and was Public Safety Commissioner of Montgomery, Alabama, petitioners and police personnel who testified, the New York Times, who was being charged for publishing false information, and Mr. Justice Brennan, who delivered the opinions of the court. The New York Times versus Sullivan case is significant because it made an important impact on what a news outlet can or cannot share if it is not true, and if they can be punished for spreading false information. The New York Times took creative liberties with an ad campaign and tried to disseminate false information about how the police reacted to the civil rights movement protest and made it sound as if the police were trying to harm the petitioners, and that they imprisoned Dr. Luther King Jr. 7 times even though it was only 4. The final verdict of the case was in favor of the New York Times, because there was no proof of malice. Even though what the New York Times did was wrong morally, doesn't actually mean they can be punished or held accountable for their actions if there was no malice in their intentions. Even today, this topic of what news outlets can or cannot share if it is not true is still debatable. If there is no proof of malice, like in this case, technically the news outlet didn't break any law or do something illegally because they have the right of freedom of speech. Even though the New York Times won the case, it brought up an important issue about spreading false information and how if there is no malice or ill intent, it is not punishable by law. This case helped determine how and if a news outlet can be punished for spreading false information, but also not restricting their right to freedom of speech.